Okay, moving on. Which punctuation mark could be used to replace the dash? Everyone's a victim of something these days. It's time we toughened up. I would suggest here the semicolon. So if we just go down, can we talk about the semicolon for a second? The semicolon replaces the full stop. If you go, I am tired, I need to sleep. The full stop tells me two different and separate ideas. If you go, I am tired, semicolon, I need to sleep, what you're telling me is that you want me to read this sentence very closely with this sentence, that there are two ideas, but they are closely linked. Okay, so if we go back up, do you see why I chose the semicolon? But I suppose you could, without changing the meaning of the sentence, full stop. Hang on, everyone's a victim of something these days, full stop, it's time, yeah. I'd prefer the semicolon, but you can have a full stop. Blown away. Right, let's have a look at it. But after doing my research, I was blown away. He was taken hostage for 5 years, spent isolation, chained. Right, so what does that mean? You're blown away by what you read about this person. I was amazed, impressed, right? We want a more formal, so don't write gobsmacked. We want something more formal. Right. Okay, everybody needs to know the difference between a simple, a compound, and a complex sentence. So let's just start with the finite verbs, everybody. How are we doing? Was, taken, spent. Right. Rewrite the above sentences as a complex sentence. What have we got? We've got two simple sentences. A simple sentence has one subject and one finite verb. Now, a complex sentence, what are we being asked to write? We need one main clause and, complex sentence, one subordinate clause. That's what we're being asked to write. What can't you use? Anything to do with fanboys, because that's going to end up probably giving you a compound sentence. Not necessarily, I hasten to add, because I'm not even going to explain that, but yes, right. So, he was taken hostage for almost 5 years. After he was taken hostage for almost 5 years, he spent. After is a subordinating conjunction. Okay. You can do it in other ways as long as you've got one main clause and one subordinate clause. Ambiguity. Okay, so that sentence comes from here. He was freed in 1991. He laughed as he was freed without shoes, so he had to ask his rescuers to find some. Right, he laughed as. As can mean two things. It can mean when, and it can mean because. That's the ambiguity. Is it he laughed because he was freed without shoes, or he laughed when he was freed and he happened to be without shoes? Okay, that's the ambiguity. Right, what have we got to do here? We've got to rewrite in reported speech. So home language and FAL, you often get asked reported speech in this exam. Here's the sentence. Waite's attitude during his captivity and since is no regrets, no self-pity, no sentimentality. Right, so this is slightly more difficult than usual because you haven't got all the verbs and things like that. You've got to put it in for yourself. Wait said that. Now, when this verb is in the past, any verbs that you are going to use in the reported speech must also be in one of the past tenses. So, when he says no regrets, no self-pity, I'm imagining he says, I have no regrets, no self-pity, whatever. So, Wait said that he had passed. Right. This is a very typical, 5.6 is a very typical FAL question. You are given a word and multiple choice. You need to know which one it is. Now, go back to the passage, check the context. Remember, if it's a pronoun, it takes the place of a noun. That's not a pronoun. Obvious pronouns are I and who, and he. It's not a pronoun. An adjective describes, and it describes either a noun or a pronoun. An abstract noun names something, because that's what abstract nouns do. And a gerund, isn't it funny? Do you remember earlier I said I'm not going to explain the possessive form before the gerund? A gerund is a verb ending in ing and acting as a noun. So can that be a gerund? No, because it doesn't end in ing. So it's not a pronoun and it's not a gerund. It's either describing a noun or a pronoun, or it's naming something. Go back to line 9. But I promise you, even without line 9, this is an abstract noun. How do I know? Because one of the ways we make abstract nouns is to add hood to the back of a word. Victimhood, childhood, adulthood, neighborhood. Okay, it's a noun. Right, good-o. Number 7, concord. My gosh, has concord come up tonight, right? Let's look. Have you found it? Have you fixed it? Okay. Oversensitivity and intolerance. I have two things. If I replace that with one pronoun, what would I use? When we've got two things, a boy and a girl, they. Do we say they cause people or they causes people? They cause people. It's a subject-verb concord. Very straightforward. Okay, a word has been used incorrectly. So you know what I do. I use my pen. No wonder victim status is coveted by so many. When there's the problem. Okay, so what we are saying is we want a word that sounds like infers, but is used with benefits. Oi. Okay, so let's try and get there. Should you know the word infer? Absolutely. I've taught this more than once. That's an F. Does it look like an F? If you infer, you are concluding something that you are not told. You are making a decision about something. You are coming to a conclusion. I can't think of any other way of saying it. You infer something. So let us say you come through the door and I say, Mbali, I really hate people who come late to meetings. What do you infer from that? Is that I'm actually criticizing you. I might have turned to Mbali and I'm talking to her, but it's directed there. So if you infer, You have something going on and you draw a conclusion about it that you're not told. Now we come to the word benefit. I've talked before about collocations. Collocations are, in a language, if you say something, people come up with something else. So if I say, he was very calm and collected. If I say, please give me bread and butter. So those are collocations. In other words, in a language, certain words come up with other words attached to them, like a little family outing. Are you with me? So what do we have with benefit? So we want something with benefit, meaning to give a benefit. But it's got to have the fur in it because somebody made the mistake and said infer. And what should come up is confer. You confer a benefit. You give a benefit to somebody. Right, now we've got to remove tautology in the final sentence. Is this the final sentence? I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what my final sentence is. Okay, I'm just going to leave that because I don't know what I'm up to there. Whoa, this is too long. I've got 5 minutes. Let me see what else I've got. This is no good. All right, we come to the summary. So I've got about 4 minutes. Can I talk about the summary for 4 minutes? It's very important. You're aiming at 10 out of 10. I don't mind if you are home language or FAL, this is very important. You need these marks out of 70. Right, point form. Please read the instructions. This sounds to me as if this is an FAL question because it's a point form summary. But could the examiners suddenly do something different tomorrow? Yes. Please look. Just because we're expecting home language to be a paragraph and expecting FAL to be point form, what if they change their minds? Please read the instructions. I was looking at a past paper today, and clearly the child was wasting time at the end of the exam, went through the instructions for the first time and wrote forgot. Okay, right. You are required to summarize in point form the reasons teens give for the love of labels and the negative effects. So please notice you will be given a direct focus for your summary. Make sure you look at the focus. In other words, not just at the headline. You're not summarizing this. You're summarizing what you're told to summarize. And I would recommend that you number it on your page. So why do teens love labels and what's the negative effect? South Africa is raising a nation of young materialistic shopaholics who are finding comfort and acceptance in the latest brand names. Materialism is out of control among teenagers who believe that money buys them status. The cost implications that make brand names appealing for the youth because they want to show off the label to their peers. Okay, why do they love labels? 1, they want to show off. What are the negative effects? Well, I actually can see quite a bit. There's the materialism. It's the fact that they find comfort and acceptance in having the brand names. That's a repetition of 2. Acceptance, maybe 3. Acceptance and status are 4. And then we've got 5. I've got 5 points, and I haven't finished reading the first paragraph. Now, a word of warning. We have found when some of the summaries have a lot of repetition, that students put in a lot of the repetition and don't see that this point is repeating that point. So be careful. If we've had materialism and materialistic, don't repeat that idea. So there seems to be 5 points out of 7 in the first paragraph. Just check that there isn't a whole lot of repetition and that you don't repeat instead of putting 1 point in each sentence, FAL students. Okay, so let's just look at another paragraph before I start wrapping up. Similar British studies found that the job market, a new breed of university graduates want it all, they want it now. Employers see them as unrealistic, self-centered, fickle, and greedy. I'm not sure about whether that I improved the negative effects of this attraction. I'm surely seeing the negative effects on the people themselves, so maybe nothing there. And so I would go on, checking my points. Right, I think I mustn't try to cram everything into the last minute. We've done a lot of revision tonight. I hope that something comes up tomorrow in FAL or in home language. This is the problem with this paper, you can't predict. So what am I begging you to do? Settle yourself down tomorrow. Breathe. Use your reading time. Use your common sense. The topics will be things of interest to young people. Use that time. And from me, go well tomorrow. Bye-bye.